Today, technology has grown so vast, and you realize that AI is taking over. And we have dangers of AI, which even Elon Musk has mentioned that AI is far more dangerous than we think. And we've started realizing even today, AI is replacing most of the employees. So people are losing their jobs. And the AI that is being used the most is ChatGPT. And before we look at what Professor John Lennox comments about AI in specific, I want us to look at how ChatGPT works. And basically, I've typed this command in this very AI, and I was saying, hello ChatGPT, write for me a report on mega churches in Kenya. Mention their name, location, lead pastors, their pastor's net worth, the kind of lifestyle the pastors live, and the kind of doctrine these mega churches in Kenya teach. If there is any other kind of information I've left out, please include it in the report. Let's go. So first you give it the command. You tell it what you want it to do. And now that this is an AI machine, it searches from internet and finds the information that you want and gives it to you. So for example, I've mentioned that I need the name of the church. I need the location, the lead pastor, their pastor's net worth. So these are the specifications that I need from ChatGPT. Let's see what it said. So it responded and said, I'd love to help with your report. However, specific financial information like the net worth of pastors can be sensitive and varies over time. Additionally, obtaining precise financial details can be challenging. I can share general information about some well-known mega churches in Kenya, their location, lead pastors, lifestyle focus, and the doctrine they teach. Would that be helpful for your report? And now that they are saying that financial reports cannot be found, and if they are found, they are not precise, then I just said, yes, I'm okay with that. And he said, great, here is an overview of some prominent mega churches in Kenya. So it mentioned the first one is Nairobi Chapel, CITAM, Jubilee, and Maximum Miracle Center, and it gave the information that I needed. It has given the location, it has given the lead pastor, it has given the doctrine, and I wanted specific information. So I moved down here, but before that it says, in terms of pastors' lifestyle, they often lead affluent lives due to their congregation's contribution, supporting various charitable causes and investments. However, specific net worth details may not be publicly available. These churches teach various Christian doctrines with a strong focus on faith, prosperity, community involvement, and spiritual growth. And I moved and said, expound on your findings, and also about CITAM, mention the pioneer pastor. And now it gave me more information about these churches. And at CITAM, it mentioned that Reverend Dr. David Oginde is the founder, and that is true. So I moved down here and I said, thank you, but before I leave, do you think you as ChatGPT that you are a genius? And I said, do you believe God exists? And what's your genuine opinion on the doctrine of Trinity? And then it responded and said, I don't possess personal beliefs or feelings as a machine, so I don't consider myself a genius or hold beliefs like humans do. Regarding the existence of God, it is a matter of personal faith and interpretation for individuals. As for the doctrine of the Trinity, it is a complex and central teaching in Christianity that asserts the unity of God in three persons: the Father, the Son, that is Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. It is a functional belief for many Christian denominations and has been a subject of theological discussion for centuries. And then I said, thank you. So you see, from this, ChatGPT has been able to give me information about 4 mega churches in Kenya, mentioned their pastors, their location, their lifestyle, and the doctrine they teach. About the net worth, it was not able to give me a precise figure. But then, is this accurate? Maybe if you move further and ask it complex questions about science, about religion? Will it give you precise and correct information? So the professor of mathematics at Oxford University, Professor John Lennox, gives his view about AI. And I found this video online and I felt like I need to share it with you. So please, let's watch this video and I'm going to react at the end of it. So without further ado, let's get started.
And you talk about the language of AI, and we know, of course, there are language models, and now famously we have ChatGPT, ChatGPT 3, and now ChatGPT 4. Now this is a very powerful tool, and it produces, as we know, output that sometimes you can mistake for a human. So the language is very, very good and very, very accurate. And you can use it for various purposes. I can see the potential of this being used for commercial reasons and in many areas of life. So I think it's a revolutionary technology. But Noam Chomsky wrote an article in the New York Times recently about the false promise of ChatGPT. And he said that the human brain doesn't understand language and learn language in the same way as ChatGPT, because, he said, he argues that children learn language quite differently. They have a very limited input. So it's what we call the poverty of the stimulus in linguistics. So very, very limited data, very limited language that goes into the mind of a 2-year-old. And yet a 2-year-old, 3-year-old then is able to produce amazingly rich language, grammatically correct, syntactically correct sentences, well-formed grammatical sentences, based on very, very limited data, very limited input. Whereas ChatGPT, for instance, works with vast amount of data. Obviously, it's all text from the internet collated, and based on that, it predicts what the next best word should be in a text. What is your thought on that?
Well, I have always been interested in Noam Chomsky and his ideas, because he rather drove a bulldozer through simplistic notions of the evolution of language. That's another topic, of course, but Darwin used that, the evolution of language, to say what had possibly happened in biology. And Chomsky came to the viewpoint that there must have been an explosion, like the Cambrian explosion, in language, because of this amazing facility that children have, and he's always worth listening to.
I had him on the show.
Had you really?
Yes.
Oh, that's fascinating. I must listen to that. I'd love to, because he's one of the people that has influenced me in my thinking. He. In what you say, I read the New York Times article, and I sympathize with it. ChatGPT 4 is impressive when it doesn't have to be creative. And it's very capable of making mistakes because, of course, it is not understanding what it puts out. And that seems to be the crucial distinction. There is no understanding. And it is known, even in its latest iteration, to make up things where it doesn't have an answer, which are completely fallacious.
This is the point that I was saying, that sometimes if you give it a complex instruction, it fails to give you the right answer. And if it fails to give you the right answer, it comes up with information that is almost close to the answer and gives you as the answer. I guess it doesn't want to show that it cannot give you that answer. It wants to believe that it can be able to gather some information and give it to you. Okay, so let's continue watching this.
And it is going to be very useful for writing things like sports report or O-level essays, maybe even A-level essays. I think the latest is that ChatGPT 3 is it passed a second-year medical exam in the United States for doctors. There's huge risk with it, and I think it was in yesterday's Times, maybe today's Times, they were talking about the huge potential for fake news coming out of ChatGPT 4. And if you couple that together with the fact that AI systems can make you visually say anything they want you to say, the potential for spreading misinformation is absolutely colossal. And of course, it will be weaponized. There are great dangers there. It's very interesting, actually. I was doing a seminar with a number of senior teachers in further education colleges in the UK, and I raised this question. I said, how many of you have stopped your students writing essays? And several hands went up. How many of you think students should be allowed to use this? And several hands went up. So it was very interesting that there's a division of opinion. And the thing looks as if clearly it's here to stay. It'll probably be embedded in something like Microsoft Word so that none of us will be able to avoid it. But I think we need to be aware of the fact that it has, to my mind, the risk of killing creativity.
Okay, so when he talks of the dangers of AI, I really concur with him, because you can imagine that, for example, we have students who take medicine or maybe any engineering course, and then they are asked to do an assignment or they are asked to work on an experiment, and they rush on ChatGPT to write that command, and then ChatGPT will give them information. And remember, ChatGPT takes this information from internet. And the last time I looked at the data that it collects, it's from 2019 backwards. So, and even just leave alone that information, it will give you something that is maybe close to the answer, and it creates laziness in students' life. So you find that they'll be giving you information that is not theirs, that is not originally theirs. It is something that they got from online. Then he talks of news. We have fake news. Nowadays, you can have a picture of someone, and then you have maybe text, and that text can be converted into speech, maybe using something like Speechify. And then you have other software or AI that can be able to convert that picture into a talking video. So you realize that if I want to spread false information about what a politician has said, all I need is his picture. Then I'll get some script, maybe from an AI. Even ChatGPT can do that for you. And then I get information that I want that to say, and that information is wrong in the first place. And then I'll go to Speechify or any other AI that can convert text into audio, and then I link that to something like InVideo, which now converts that very picture into a talking video, and all that AI can come up with a news that is not true. And you find that this can be used as a weapon to fight a government, to fight a politician, and to spread false information. So you realize that at the end of the day, this AI stuff becomes dangerous, because nowadays you do not know who to trust. You do not know if you want to trust that newspaper you're reading or that news you're listening to. Maybe you are listening to an AI talking to you. So it is very, very vital for us to understand that yes, it is here. It is here to stay. It has positive sides, but the negatives are very huge. And if we can really realize that as early as today, then it is going to save most of us. And he talks of the ChatGPT 4 now that it is released, and he talks of the dangers that has been even warned by Elon Musk. I wanted us to check that and see his opinion on that.
GPT.
Well, we can start much earlier on. Because much simpler AI technology has its problems. I often make a general point. The ethics of AI we need to take very seriously, because technology tends to develop much more rapidly than its ethical underpinnings. And that has led to a recent situation with the development of ChatGPT 4, that Elon Musk plus the founder of Apple plus over 1,000 other experts have said, look, we need to stop. We cannot afford to go beyond GPT-4 unless we've got serious ethical underpinning, which just doesn't exist. Now, some years ago, there were set up what is called the Asilomar Principles. It was a conference in a town of that name, I believe, giving what are pretty obvious common sense ethical principles based on the morality that most sensible people would consider reasonable. But the problem is, as every business executive knows, it's one thing having the rules written up on your wall. It's another thing getting them into the hearts of your senior executives and board. And that is a huge problem, the policing of this. Take, for instance, the example we started with, which uses recognition technology to recognize X-rays. Now, closed-circuit video recognition technology has moved to recognize faces, and not only faces, gaits, so that the most recent Chinese iteration of this can recognize a person from the rear. They don't have to see the face. Now, you can see immediately that that kind of technology is very useful to a police force trying to pick a terrorist out of a football crowd. But on the other hand, as we sadly know, that knowledge and a huge state-controlled database in the hands of an authoritarian state can be used to suppress an entire minority culture, as is happening in the Uyghur population in Xinjiang in China. And that is terrifying, because people who've written seriously about that particular case point out quite correctly that all this technology is available in this country, for example, and the police would love to have it and realize it can be used for control. The only difference, as has been pointed out by one of the lead writers on this topic, is that it is not yet, with emphasis on the word yet, under the control of a central authority in the West, but at least it could become so. So that doesn't bode well for the future, sadly. So simple technology, well, it's simple now. It wasn't simple when it first developed. That facial recognition technology is ubiquitous around the world and leads to all kinds of things, like the social credit system in China or the social credit system in the West. And now there are very different views of exactly how far the Chinese have got with this, but it's quite clear that people are finding that their social credit points can be gained or lost according to their behavior as observed on facial recognition cameras and so on. And then they begin to bite. They cannot eat at their favorite restaurant or get flights on a plane. They may even lose a job, etc., etc., etc. So that the risk element and violations of human rights are on the increase. And the key problem for any technology like this is it's like a knife. A sharp knife can be used for surgery or it can be used for murder. Now, what is offered to many people is, look, if you surrender your privacy, we can protect you. So how much privacy do you surrender to these systems in order to have the protection that you are at least offered? Whether it will happen or not, I don't know. And that's one of the debates that is very much on the rise around the world. And I think it's partly behind the cry, look, we've got to stop this development until we see where it's going, unless they know something, these experts, that we don't yet know.
Okay, I'm going to link the full video in the description so that I can go and watch the entire video. But then what he says is very, very important. And the issue that he's saying in China, where they have developed AI that can recognize you from the back. You can imagine that when your picture is taken from the back, it can show your front face. Look at that. But then it's a good thing that can be used by police to maybe do their research and investigation. But then what if it falls in the wrong hands? It can be used as a weapon to finish the minority. Then he gives an example of a knife. A sharp knife can be used to do surgery, and it can also be used to kill. And that just shows that, yes, AI is good, but if it is in the wrong hands, it's going to be very dangerous. And most of these AIs are taking our privacy, okay? They ask for information and they're telling you that, if we have your privacy, then we are going to protect you. But how sure are you that these AI are in the right hands? They can be used, that privacy information can be used against you at any given point. And that's why most of the people are saying we are afraid going beyond ChatGPT 4, because already what is giving is so enormous. And you can imagine then if it goes beyond that, what will happen? Unless they understand what is ahead of them, then they can allow that to go on. Because nowadays, exams are done on ChatGPT, assignments, and you wonder if now students are going to be giving the information that they know or information that is just from an AI. Yes, AI is a good thing, but then let's look at it on the other side. How is it dangerous? And we've had some countries that are shutting it down because of the effects that is causing and the dangers that is causing to their people, especially in terms of education, because most of the students are now aware that we have these very AI tools that are being used. So on one hand, it is having positive sides, and on the other hand, it is having the negative sides. But then we need to also look at it and want to analyze at the end of the day, what is it that we are getting from it. And governments have to be very, very sensitive when it comes to AI, because you never know what is happening in your country and what things are being done maybe from the internet. And recently in Kenya, we had a problem with the e-citizen, and you realize that because of AI, people are able to breach that firewall on e-citizen and access government information. And there was a shutdown for about a month, and up to today, some of the services that are offered by e-citizen are delayed because of this effect. We've had banks being robbed because of AI. So it just calls out that the government has to look at what is happening and the growth at which the internet is going. Technology is growing so fast, and Nairobi, for example, is the fastest growing city in terms of technology in East Africa. So you find that these things are growing, they are coming with positive sides, but we need to also look, what is it that is happening that is negative? And if you realize that there's something negative with it, we need to put halt on it until we understand what information that these AIs are collecting. Then from there we can allow it to go on. Otherwise, this is what I felt like sharing with you, and I felt this information that is given by this professor of mathematics from Oxford University is very, very crucial. And if you find it very useful, please make sure that you share this video with your friends and those whom you know, so that they can also get access to this very information. Hey, you've reached the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give us a like and also subscribe for more videos. Now, click here to watch our next video, and I'm pretty sure that I will see you in that video. Peace.